welcome to the Hot Seat episode 2. And today I'm sitting here with a power couple in Tim and Danielle Ferguson. Guys, welcome to the show. Take some time and let everybody know who you are and what it is that you do.
Okay. Well, we are again Tim and Danielle Ferguson. We've been married for 16 years, have 6 kids, and we have been in entrepreneurship from the time I met him in college. He actually left and started a business, and we've started multiple things, seen some success, seen some fails. And one of the things that we have been doing all this time is he has a background in education. He's a certified personal trainer, so he always has had teaching in him. And we've always been like first the advice givers and then teaching, and then we started to kind of create courses. And we volunteer, do them at churches, do them at community places, but now we're at a place where people are always saying, hey, you need to monetize this. You guys have something. And so what we're trying to do is get to the place of really creating more of a business out of it, how to monetize what we have. We have a lot of things that we want to offer, and we want to make sure we structure it well. We don't want to look like a one-stop shop where then nothing is really great, but we do have a lot of things that we could start with. The company is invested in you, and it's just, and he's primarily the speaker and the teacher and whatnot. I'm more administrative and kind of behind the scenes, but you know, he teaches on just all things that invest in the person, your motivational gifts of who you are as a person and why you were hardwired and made the way you are, and how that translates into the things that would work best for you, whether it be a job or just kind of where your strengths lie at. Financial literacy, just all the gamut of what makes a life whole.
As an entrepreneur, there's always something that we could be doing, but what's the thing we should be doing, right? And so, like, of all these areas and things that you guys want to help people with, you know, whether it's physical, finance, like, which one are you guys honing in on? Like, when because you said, hey, it sounds like the big issue, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, so far as like, hey, we've got all these things, we have the knowledge, and we're helping people, but we need to turn this, like, this knowledge into an actual business. Which piece of this do you actually want to monetize? Is it the financial literacy side? Is it the physical side? Is it the character side? Like, which side have you decided? And obviously they're all incorporated, but when you guys look at it, those three, which one you say, hey, we need to start here and find and monetize this one first?
What I see is like really just going by what the need of the culture is in our area. Financial literacy is huge. People getting financially protected, people getting and understanding the concept of money, making money, learning about these things, and then having the opportunity of someone who will not only just, show you what you need, but coach you through it and help you be able to build yourselves and be, again, like I said, become an asset to the community.
I know you've been helping people for a while. What's the core product, right? So we say, hey, we need to monetize this, but let's dive into that a little bit. What is this? Do you guys have a course? Do you want to do coaching? Is this mentorship? What does the delivery vehicle look like? Or is that the question? Hey, how do we take all of this and put it into a delivery vehicle? What's the idea behind that?
The delivery vehicle that I've been doing has been through motivational speaking.
So your speaking has been how you're kind of like getting the word out and finding people to help. But in terms of, so let's say I hear you speak, right? And I say, man, I really resonate with what it is you have going on. I'd love to get to work closer with you guys. What's that look like? Like I said, would you say, okay, hey, here's our course. Do you have a coaching program? What's that vehicle?
I want that. So the vision I have is the courses. And, there's so many different frameworks. When I started looking in 2019, a friend of mine suggested that to me. Mm-hmm. And, then there's the whole, is it better to do live? Is it better to do recorded? And is it better to do the challenges and then have a course? And, that to me, the courses are the way I want to go. I see that as the way to kind of engage, teach people the general. And then after the courses, if there's people who want to take it to another level, then to me, that's when we can do the coaches or coaching and the smaller things. And I kind of want to do it that framework so that we want to make sure that people are able to get what they need at whatever level financially they can get. And then if they want to do more and want to invest more, then we can do the more private coaching and whatnot.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is, like I said, there's a vision for. So right now we don't have any of these things established. That's what we're trying to focus on, is where we want our delivery vehicle. There's some advantages to courses, but ultimately, you guys want to have a tiered offering so that people can choose the intimacy level in which they work with you guys. Okay. I got to ask, because like the initial question was, hey, we want help monetizing this. So right now, you guys have been doing this for years. So when I come to you, is it just like, oh yeah, we got you, and you guys are just working? Like, how are you guys helping the people today? Is it just free education? Is it videos? Is it books? Like, where's that happening? Because obviously you guys are very knowledgeable. And so how's that happening now? Is there any foundations of anything of where you're working with people now?
So we haven't really. So that's part of the challenge. So he does a regular speaking engagement for a church. He's been speaking there for quite a while now. I think a few years on and off. And we hadn't monetized it outside of just the books. So the courses are something that we brought to him more recently. And I've been kind of studying to see the framework of that, so that they can have a place to house it outside of a product. Because once a person buys your book, it's a one-time thing. Mm-hmm. You know, I said what keeps them coming and then keeps them learning is having something that's more substantial. So we started to put together the course syllabi for the different courses. And that's the kind of the place we're at, of building that out of, okay, this is what we need. And I'm still kind of in that place of, okay, what is the general course? What should be the information for like the specialty? Because I'm kind of like you, where I kind of want to just give it all that I have. Mm-hmm. But, you know, how do I separate that kind of thing?
The core delivery vehicle so far of you guys' expertise has been the books. All right. So now I got a question of, because you guys have been doing this for so long, right? You mentioned even 2019 is when you first started looking at it and like, hey, maybe the courses route would be it. Why not just be like, okay, cool. We obviously we got like, you can't fake your way into a book, right? So we put a book, right? And you can't fake your way on stage either, right? So like, we know this. Why not just turn around and be like, cool, we put it in a course? I guess like from you guys' point of view, not getting on you at all, to help me understand, like, why haven't you guys just been like, cool, we know that, for instance, and I haven't been fortunate enough to read your book yet, but let's say chapter 1 teaches X, Y, and Z. Why haven't we just filmed that and sold maybe just that one strategy or that one piece? Yeah, where's been the catch up there for you guys?
When I was doing my courses thing, so it was actually me and a girlfriend of mine. Mm-hmm. She had actually introduced me to the whole concept. I'd never really heard, and I happened to separately do a challenge at the same time. So it was kind of me understanding this world. He's literally just getting on the whole social media thing. Okay. So it's been more of that disconnect of not really associating, because social media is not, he doesn't want to be on there. I'm on there all the time. He doesn't, that's not his thing. So it was always just that kind of disconnect, because it just didn't really kind of apply to our regular life. Yep. And then when we try to start to learn, especially different platforms, how do you use LinkedIn is different than Twitter? And that became kind of a challenge, because I said, I feel like I'm in college all over again, trying to understand how to effectively engage these things. And the thing that I really wanted, especially with the courses, I wanted to be trained by people who knew what they were doing. Mm. What I didn't want to do is go put out an offering, and they're all the things that we don't think about, especially when you're in person. It's a different thing than when you're online, and things you have to think about. I wanted to present a quality, excellent thing, and I feel like we had a lot of basic things, but, you know, it would be good to get wisdom from somebody who knows what they're doing.
Absolutely. Okay, cool. So I think I got an idea here, right? So in general, I think that there's kind of two things here. It's how do we go and in the online world start to build a presence so that we can sell our expertise, right? And then let's talk a little bit about the delivery of that. So here's what I would tell you guys, and this is this will work really well because, Tim, of your strength. Speakers are usually natural teachers at heart as well. And so I think what's going to set you guys apart in your business and really explode it, especially in the online world, is being able to get in front of the audience, right? And so, Daniel, you had asked earlier, like, hey, what does that look like? Should there be a live X, Y, and Z? I would definitely say for you guys, and this is not for everybody, but for you guys, a lot of the things that you guys do lead generation wise, I would do live, because I think it's going to be, it's one thing to just hear or see something, but I think when you get to go through it live, you get to experience, right? And I think that experiencing Tim and the message that you guys have is going to be much more impactful and grow you guys that much quicker. Because as crazy as it sounds, as you guys know, even though so many people, unfortunately, are financially illiterate, it is so easy to gain access to the information of financial literacy. Like, we have a foot, right? It's all there at our fingertips. But I think what happens is we've been so miseducated by the education system that when you become financially literate and aware, you're like, there's no way. It can't, it can't be this simple. It can't be like whatever it may be. And so I think there's an extra level of trust in this area. And I think if I get to come in, I get to experience Tim, that trust is already assigned. And so whatever you're telling me financial wise, even though it's like, maybe like, is this, like whether it's UILs or, whatever it is, right? It's like, oh, okay, but I can trust this because I got to experience Tim. This is not just some random person that I'm seeing a recording or something of. So I think live is going to be good for you guys. So I'm going to lay out a strategy, and you guys just, let me know your thoughts about this. So there's kind of two things at play here. First and foremost, because you're doing so much speaking already, Tim, I'm sure a lot of that, you have a lot of that recorded. Would you agree with that? A lot of you have recordings and tapes of you speaking? Okay. So one of the first things that I would do is, and I've been working with a lot of students in the companies in my portfolio company with this. And the question that I pose to everybody, and I pose it to myself, frankly, too, is, do I plan to be in business in 10 years from now? Right? Do I plan to be in business for 10 years from now? It sounds like a weird question, but the reality is most people don't take steps with that in mind. And if the answer is yes, right, then the next question becomes, what can I do today to make 10 years from now easier? Because I'm not sure if you guys know this or not, statistically, most entrepreneurs can become multimillionaires within 10 years of launching their business, right? The reason majority of people don't is because nobody wants to spend the 9 years, 364 days not being a millionaire. And so what happens is we do something and we say, oh my gosh, it didn't work, right? And what it's interesting that we say that, because what people actually mean is it didn't produce the result I expected it to this time. But what happens is, because we're not mentally disciplined enough, we push the reset button. And every time we push the reset button or pivot or change this or that because it didn't work, we push the reset button on the 9 years, 364 days. And so I'm giving that pre-frame because this plan, it's going to produce results today. But if you guys commit to this, and you get in your head, hey, we're doing this stuff for 10 years from now, not what it's going to produce tomorrow, you guys are going to really blow up in this space, right? So the first thing that I want to do is I want to protect you guys' business in advance. Entrepreneurship is about risk management. And so when I say protect your business in advance, there's so many good people, so many great entrepreneurs with good ideas, great messages, great strategies, all these things, and nobody gets to hear about them or experience them because the entrepreneur has no audience, right? Like, everybody's always trying to figure out, what can I do to get customers tomorrow? And I understand, right? We need to, monetizing is important, profit's important, but but the problem is, if I go in with that mindset, I start thinking kind of like you were saying, okay, can I create the course, the mentorship, the book, the whatever? And I know so many people, I've been there too, where I created that stuff first and we turn around and we got it created after all the time, energy, sweat, blood, and tears that goes into that, right? And then we're like, okay, how are we going to get some people? There's no people here. And it's actually easier to launch anything if I have the audience first. So I like to give this example of Oprah, right? Now, we all know who Oprah Winfrey is today, right? One of the most powerful, most influential people, let alone, right, women, let alone minority women in the world, right? Multi-billionaire. But what's interesting, and all due respect to Oprah, right? Oprah was essentially a nobody, right? Oprah was a nobody who became famous by interviewing famous people in front of their own audience. And she did that, right, consistently enough until those people, their audience, became her audience. She did this until she built up a big enough audience and authority with these people, and then she stopped the show. Right? She's like, I don't need the show anymore. But this allowed her to launch ventures, right? So I always give this example of Oprah's book club, right? Because Oprah's book club is this massive business. It's actually a business, right? Where I think there's a small fee you actually pay as a user to be a part of the community, maybe. But basically in Oprah's book club, she recommends these books. Now, what a lot of people don't know about Oprah's book club is, like I said, it's a business empire. Where because Oprah has built up enough authority, know, like, and trust with these people over the years, essentially when Oprah picks up a book and says, this is a book you need to go read, tens of thousands of people just go buy that book instantly, right? And so what she did was now she will, and it's a very selective process, but let's say I was a nobody and I wrote a book. I could become a New York Times bestseller, be on every major news outlet within 30 days, pretty much overnight, if I was able to get a deal with Oprah's book club, where essentially she reads the book, she likes it, she reviews it, and then she goes, turns around, tells her audience, hey, da-da-da-da, this book's amazing, boom, instantly overnight, New York Times bestseller, you'd be on Good Morning America and anything else that you need to be. Your speaking fee would triple overnight, right? But what people don't know about this model is what she does is there's a fee, and she takes royalties in perpetuity. Right?
That makes sense.
Right? So it's a huge business, right? So it makes sense. So I say that, let's protect the business up front and let's build an audience, especially for people like you who have a real expertise and know what they're talking about. So here's the first thing I do. In combination with recordings that you have, I would start, and I'll give you, because we're kind of doing this now, I would start some type of cadence. It could be monthly, it could be weekly, it could be daily, whatever you feel you can consistently keep up with. But I would start hosting a space where people can experience me live.
Okay.
Okay? So, for instance, I don't want to talk vague. I want to give specifics, right? The hot seat is about walking with a specific plan. So, let's say, for instance, we take, and some people, I'll give you why we started the hot seat show a little bit here, right? There's a lot of podcasts out right now, and I think podcasts are great, and you guys could start a podcast that could be somewhere where you have a cadence. But I think that you've been in this long enough, you have enough expertise that maybe later on you can bring people in, but right now you want your voice heard, your thoughts, your feelings about these topics, and so just create a show. We have people, there's kids going viral on TikTok and Instagram and all these things. These kids have TV shows that essentially don't have a talent, right? I did some dances on TikTok and I was able to create enough following where a media company came and said, hey, you want a deal on Hulu? Right? These people's families' lives are changing forever, and they're not necessarily changing generations, right, or educating on the real impactful things. So why can't I take these same platforms and show up consistently? Well, the reality is because it's really hard to create content, like you were saying earlier. Okay, how do I create content for LinkedIn? And how do I create content for Instagram? And how do I create for TikTok and Facebook? And I found that for an expert, especially someone, Tim, I'm like you. I ain't trying to be nobody's influence. I ain't got time to be on, I don't care. No, I ain't doing no photos. I ain't, none of that. I don't care about none of it. You know what I'm saying? That's not me. So, but I said, if you come and you sit down and you need educated on a topic I know about, buckle up, right? And so put yourself in that environment, because if you're doing something that's natural for you already, first and foremost, you'll be able to do it longer. You could easily do it for 10 years, right? You're already doing it now, essentially. The problem is there's no output. Nobody outside of the people who are there know it's happening. And that's issue number one, is that you are your industry's best kept secret, and we can't have that anymore. So pick a cadence. So let's say a weekly show, for instance, and don't be scared to do this. I wish I would have done this sooner. You're going to be tempted to not give away your best stuff, right? This is where I think a lot of people make the mistake when they're trying to create content, which is why I said just put yourself in that environment. Host a 30-minute coaching session, or just a motivation where you come and, you got your signature talks and go-to examples, even if it's just that, right? If you, as a matter of fact, Eric Thomas blew up this way, right? He had that weekly Monday, I think it was Monday or Sunday show that he did years ago for free. I can't even remember the name. And he was just putting it out on YouTube consistently. And it blew up, right? He had a couple clips, the Guru Go Viral and a couple other ones, all right? And it changed everything for him. But if you just put yourself in an environment where I'm just doing what I naturally do, and you record it, what is going to happen is you're going to get so many clips that are sound bites, right? So, and like Danielle, you'll probably be really good at this because my wife's really good at it for me, right? Like we'll take a speaking event I did, or a show, or a coaching session, and we'll go through it. I'm like, my wife will watch it, and she'll be like, that one, that needs to be clipped, and that one needs to be clipped. You need to put that one out. Oh, that would be a good one too, right? And so I'm just doing my thing. But then because like you said, she's like, okay, she kind of gets the feel of the platforms and on social media and what would pop and what people will react to, and maybe it's a little, and so we can use those things, and those things can be clipped, and that goes out on social media, because that will start to do one core thing. It'll start to build a following, and it will start to establish know, like, and trust with that audience, but it's not going to be any additional burden for you. Right? Because like Tim, like you said, you're already doing these things. So now let's just do it. And like I said, and now like with the stuff you're already doing, cool. Every time, hey, I need them recordings, send them over to me, right? And you guys can clip those up. But then like I said, host your own thing as well, so that you start to see a platform and people can start to know where to rely on you, right? And it's going to start small, right? I was telling, me and my wife were just talking about this at breakfast this morning. The plan isn't hard. It's the discipline behind it. If you guys get behind this and you're like, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to blow up, right? We're going to get X amount of views and X amount of followers, and X amount of people are going to reach out to buy from us. This plan is not going to work out for you. You have to know two things if you go do this plan. You're going to blow up, and you're going to get you're going to get paid handsomely for it, right? The difficult part is you don't know when it's going to happen. So what I always do, and I encourage my students to do, change the target. We can rewire our brain. A lot of times our brain is wired for, I'm going to go do this webinar, and at the end of it, I want X amount of people to sign up. Rewire the brain and say, hey, I don't know, right? We launched the hot seat, and I told my wife, I said, this thing is going to be really big. It's going to blow up. And she asked me, she said, how many episodes do you think until it explodes? And I told her, I said, to be honest with you, I have no idea. And I don't really care. I'm really excited just to see how many episodes it takes for us to blow up. That's it. So that's the target. For me, I'm not like, so we did the first one and we got a couple hundred views in the first couple days. Okay, we got, 30 some subscribers off. It's a brand new. Like I have no feelings about that. I have no expectations like at all. Because my target, the way I wire my brain is, I'm like, cool, episode 1's done. Episode 2, here we come. Episode 3, I have no idea. The target for me, the game is just how many until we blow up. And so I'm not discouraged by what the metrics or the response is, because the game is not the result. The game is just putting in the reps, right? So that's the first thing I do. I put on some type of weekly show, just so that you are naturally in your environment. You take that and you clip that up into social media, reels, TikToks. Video is obviously really heavy right now. So I put, let's get a little more granular here because I want to give everyone good. So this weekly show, it needs to be recorded. I put out the entire piece of content, right? And then I would click everything else. And then if you wanted, you could even, whether you guys want to do this, or you can even find someone on Fiverr or something like that. You could have somebody essentially transcribe the episode and turn it into like a blog. Right? And so you could put out blogs and Facebook posts and tweets that are still from this same piece of content. It blew my mind when we started doing this, how many pieces of content we got from like 40 minutes of me just like coaching somebody. We have more than we can even post. Like seriously, I'm like, wow. Like I never thought about that before. Just how many things like people don't know and resonates with them, and how many different ways, like I said, all these pieces can be put out. So that's the first thing I do, and that is going to start to build your authority. Now, don't waste this opportunity. When you're doing these things, tell people the way that you can support them. Right? So as you start doing this, you also want to let people know, yes, we work with people, right? Now, so let's move into our second piece, because the monetization piece. And the reason I'd start with this too is because like we could get into page strategies and all those things, and that's great. But the reality is that the bigger that this goes and takes off, the easier your business is going to be, and you guys are going to get people from all over the place, right? You're going to get bigger speaking engagements, like, amen. So something the Holy Spirit told me right now that said, if they do this and y'all commit to this plan, you're going to have an opportunity to serve an underprivileged community, and it's going to be all free, because someone else is going to see it, and they're going to reach out to opportunity and say, hey, whether it's a speaking fee or and they're going to pay, and you're going to be able to take that. And the money that one person's paying you is going to allow you to do, maybe not all of what you do, but hey, we have this course where it's 100% free, and we just, whatever it is, right? I'll let y'all sit with that. That just hit me. Okay, so this show, right? We got the show, we got the pieces out. And so now we need to get into the offers, how we help people. In my opinion, I like having the tiered offers, right? I think that, especially because you're going after financial literacy, it's a double-edged sword, right? Where, hey, people aren't financially literate, and the people who need it most probably can't afford to pay what it's really worth. So this is just what's on my mind. I want you guys to take this as gospel, but here's what I'm thinking. I would put together some type of continuity offer. So like some type of monthly membership, right? And this would be, I would make it a couple $100 a month at least, right? I'd make it at least $199 a month, right? Because you want there to be a significant of a fee, right? But you don't want to over leverage yourself in this delivery model. So what I mean by that is, I wouldn't jump into a membership like that necessarily, unless you just want to, right? These are just my feelings and thoughts, and be like, oh, I'm having weekly or, coaching sessions with all these people in this group, right? Because the investment is so low. So what I would probably do here is what if once a month, right, you held a workshop? And like I said, you've worked with people, the things that help people and change their lives, right? Whether it's every month there's a workshop and it's one financial literacy hack. Maybe it's, 1 month it's, hey, how to bring up your credit score by 50 points, right, this month, right? And then the next month after that, the workshop is, whatever, right? Just little things, right? Little wins that are going to stack up. And the mindset you want to have for a program like this is, how can I turn these people into the customers that can pay me the big bucks? A lot of times entrepreneurs make a second mistake. They never spend time, energy, effort, or money building their own audience, because that's going to protect the business long term. So they never spend time doing that. And then the second fatal mistake that they make is everyone's always looking for these people who are already at the finish line. Right? Where's the person who can just pay me $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 for this? And the reality is that there are those people out there, All right. But a lot of those people probably don't need me as much, right? They already have some type of financial literacy or working with somebody there, right? People could drop that. And so it's going to be better off if I can create my customer. And if you guys sit down and start thinking about that, how can I create my customer? Our core thing, right? And you're going to have to decide, together, right? But like Tim, you said, you went and did this stuff financially, to be able to provide all these extra products. You're going to have to look at all these products and services and decide which one is going to take care of me and my family financially the best and serve these people at the highest level. And what are the requirements of somebody to take advantage of that thing? And you're going to want to pick that as kind of your core thing when you work deeper with people. And when you do that, that's going to give you the clarity of what people need to become in order to take advantage of a higher tier, more intimate offer that's going to change me and my family's legacy and theirs, right? And that will, and so basically what I do is I reverse engineer. So for instance, like in my portfolio company, we work with entrepreneurs, coaches, course creators, agency owners that are already doing 6 figures a year, right? So that means you're doing somewhere between 10 to 15. And so if that's the case, and we take those businesses from 10 to 15 to 100K months, well, the reality is, and Instagram would tell you different, right? Most businesses are not doing that. Not month over month, right? And so the reality is most entrepreneurs are doing less than that. What do the entrepreneurs below that need in order to hit that consistently? And you're just going to write down a list, right? So I'm going to write down, list out, what do the people need to do? What do they need to have? What do they need to believe in order to become the type of individual who would take us up on this bigger offer? And when you have that list, that's what you're going to deliver in this monthly membership. But drip it out. Don't feel like, hey, we need to create all these resources and then have it in this portal. And when people jump in this so that they can have access and go through it, because that's information overwhelm anyway, right? You've got way more than 12 lessons that you could teach people, Tim, right? Like this list is probably at least 12, if not 25, 30, 50, right? And so, but just once a month, hold a live workshop over Zoom where they can experience you. You teach that thing live. You answer all of their questions about it. It's recorded. And afterwards, it gets uploaded to the membership library, right? For people who missed it and they can go back. And now, if you start that in September, but I join in January, I didn't miss out on those workshops. You don't have to do them again. You can always reference back to them. Hey, this is in your membership library. Go do play number 1 from September. Right? So you're actually building a course library now, but you're getting to do it live, and it's not this added to do. And I actually found that you're going to create a more impactful training that way than a lot of times entrepreneurs and speakers and things will try to go and create in a vacuum, where essentially they say, hey, well, let me get the shiny cameras and let me get the script and the syllabus, and da-da-da-da. Like, but if you're a teacher at heart, you know what you know. Get in front of the people and say, I already know this. I know this is what I want to teach them, but get in front of them live, because what's going to happen most times is you're going to have what you think they need, and you're really going to be able to teach 10% of it. Because even where we think they are, they're below that. And the 10% of what we thought we were going to teach is going to blow their mind. And we're going to be able to be like, cool, that's going to be enough. We're going to dive into that. That's going to be impactful enough. And they're going to be there live to get questions and answers. And if one person has the question, everybody has the question too, right? And so it's going to create a better training, and then we're good to go, right? So that's what I would do, because this can feed your family for a long time. Like when this blows up, right, and people start jumping in, this is going to be like, you just start doing the numbers, right? 100 people in here. Okay. Right. And like I said, and the delivery is it ain't, right. So this needs to have, so I do like some type of, and I say like once a month, one time a month, live Zoom workshop where you teach them something that's going to, again, it should be from this list. The next thing that I do here is we need community. right? That community is going to keep people around. So just some community there, and that's it. Right? Because you're talking about financial literacy, I even thought it would be cool if maybe you initially, it may just be you, maybe you get friends who can do this in for you. Maybe you take members initially and you start giving them the training. So as this grows, it's not a big task for you. But I thought it'd be even cool if, like, hey, so many people go and they get loans or credit card or making financial decisions. And y'all know that people who are wealthy, they never make those decisions without having their financial team or a lawyer look it over. Most people can't even afford what it would cost to go have a lawyer and say, hey, could you just look at this for me? Right? I thought it'd be cool if, what if, hey, in this community, I can bring and say, hey, we're trying to do this. We're about to, even if it's just something as simple as a mortgage, we're trying to get this mortgage, or this is like, and this is just a community where I can come, and that would be valuable in and of itself, right? Where, hey, even if it was like, hey, we have a lawyer or a financial somebody on staff who just gives advice and contributes to this community, just something bonus, and that could be cool. But I'd start there because this is going to be the entry into you guys' world. And I know it's not a whole bunch of money. You could make it $2.99, $4.99, whatever you want, right? The price point doesn't really matter there. But what's cool about this is you guys have a B to C product, meaning a business to consumer. It's just like the fitness space. I used to love the fitness space. It's actually where one of my first brick and mortar businesses was. And I love the fitness space because everybody needed it, right? B2B is a little bit harder. Yes, I can usually charge more. That's why everybody wants to go in the B2B space, but it's a little bit harder. B2C is a lot easier because everybody needs financial literacy. And I don't care how financially literate you are, you going to find something else that you didn't know. Like the tax code alone is what, like this thick? You know what I'm saying? Like there's so much to learn and glean from. And people will go, man, that was game changer. Man, he was telling me X, Y, and Z. And you can say, hey, yeah, you like that? We dive into this more. We can show you exactly how to do it for your family, whatever it may be, $199 a month. And now people are plugged into a community, right? They can get friends and things. That's going to build really rapidly for you and start to build a tribe of people who love you and will turn into the people who can do this higher thing that you guys are going to sell them down the road, right? Because they're going to be in a financial situation to do that. And so that's what I would be thinking about there. So these are the first two plans here. The last piece that I'd add to this plan, this really is the core plan, but the last piece that I'd add to this plan is, like I said, I would try to figure out, you're going to blow up quicker. Yes, I know you have all these tools, but you're going to blow up quicker when the market knows you for a specific financial product or service, right? Like I said, whether it's, infinite banking concept or, showing people how to, buy a home and pay off their mortgage in, 5 to 7 years using HELOCs, like whatever, like just pick your core thing that you want to kind of like go after. Not that you can't deliver all the other ones, but because, like I said, if people start to know, oh, that's what I go to them for, right? You'll just be able to really grow everything, the social media, the everything much quicker. And that gives everyone else in here a vision, a pathway, like, oh, I know I want to do that, but I got to get these things in order first. And now that I got this checklist done, hey, I'm coming to you to do X, Y, and Z. And that's just the door, because as you guys know, hey, once we help them with that, there's so many other things that we can dive into. Hey, do you have kids? What do you have family? What do you want X, Y, and Z to look like? And that can go into all different types of things, and you can get taken care of that way, obviously, too. But that's what I would probably start here. Questions, thoughts, comments, concerns on that plan?
No, I've been taking a ton of notes from the things you said. You dropped a lot of nuggets. And I'm just thinking about this, and one of the things I want to discuss is like with between us just needing to figure out what is that core thing. Because even though we're saying this about financial literacy, there's a theme that I hear every time I hear him talking to people. It always kind of comes back to that. Mm-hmm. And I'm feeling like, I think we should just go with constantly, naturally coming. What does the Holy Spirit keep on bringing up? We could be talking about finance, about help. There's still a core common thing that's always strung through. And what I want us to do is like kind of flush that out, because like I don't have the words for it. It's there.
Mm-hmm.
It's something like it's there, but I just don't have the way to brand it. But I feel like once we get that thing, that will be it.
Absolutely.
Well, I think, that thing for me, for what it's always been, is wholeness. Being whole, and that these are all areas that attains to wholeness or being broken. And so that's what it's been about. And that's, I think, just kind of, I know lately, because of the matters of doing things and things not kind of going as expected, I'm hitting that reset button and saying, okay, maybe I need to promote it a different way, or maybe I need to do it this way. And in reality, it's just like, go back to the beginning of what this was all about, and when I can go back to the beginning for what this is all about, it's right there. It's made plain and simple. I was thinking, I did have a question though, to see your opinion on it. I offer financial services through Primerica. I sell life insurance, financial securities, and so this was something that I was working with, where not only do I make money being able to offer people these services, but I also can offer them opportunities to be able to do the same thing.
Absolutely.
And seeing based on something like this, how would you think would be, in essence, a way to eschew that into what we have here?
Yeah.
Like I was just thinking,
Yeah, no, I think it's a great thing. I think the great thing about just having the membership in the community is, like I said, if you start putting out and doing this, people are going to see and they're going to be intrigued and interested. And so as I step into your world, and the cost of entry is low, right? That allows a lot more people to step into your world. And so anytime you're doing this, like I said, you could even, let's say, for instance, that's your first workshop. It could be, right? Like I said, when you talk about this list of things that people need to come, like it's you guys' world. So if you want to say, hey, one of the ways, like if your people are looking to, as I'm educating you, be able to do the same thing for your friends, your family, your community, and let me tell you about this opportunity, I would 100% make that a part of your community, right? So that you can give those people that opportunity. Absolutely. Like I said, there's a suite of services and things and opportunities, and that's one of them. So I don't think you have to necessarily do anything different here. Like I said, I would essentially let people come into my world. And when they come inside my world, that's when I would just make them know, hey, there's all these things that we have, right? Like this is a way, right? And I think you could one way to easily let people know about that as they step into that world is, like we were talking about, this world is also changing all the time. And one of the ways to stay abreast of what's going on is to just step into that world, right? To become licensed in certain, like an X, Y, and Z, and to really know the ins and outs and be able to take advantage of, what is out there and available for our families. And so, that's how I see it. I would just, make that as, you can make it module 1. You can make it a bonus. Maybe you do that. Maybe as that's what I do. I'd make it a bonus gift. When people jump into this, they get this bonus gift that would already be uploaded into the membership library of how to do X, Y, and Z, whatever you want to call it, right? You could tie it to maybe a specific financial number, whatever you want, but how to do X, Y, and Z through, this opportunity. And, to have some, some quick videos just telling them like the opportunities, the world, like, because I think a lot of people, again, do you know how many people think maybe I have to go to college for that? Maybe I needed a degree, and it's really, it's you don't need a 4 years degree or master's to go get into that world, right? You need to pass your securities test and things for it, but that's really it. And that, that's an opportunity. And so that's probably the route I would probably take there. But yeah, I don't think you have to do anything different. I would make that as a bonus so that everyone that's coming through that world can decide. And I believe, because a lot of people who jump into that industry in general is getting younger and younger and younger. I think that it'll be a way to introduce a lot of younger people into and say, hey, I could create some money for myself while changing me, my friends, and my family's culture and community. And so I think that's great. And the reason why I said young people is because, as we get older, we get so set in our ways. And, we let everything confuse and scare and make everything difficult for us. But think about how quickly, too, that young person would be able to go and have that education, turn around and go back to their family and get uncles, aunties, X, Y, and Z taken care of. And so like their first customer base is there instantly. And so that's a great opportunity, right? And like I said, how you guys position it, it could be a fast track to X, Y, and Z that you guys can, come up with the lingo there, but that's how I do that. That's a great question.
I have so many notes of things that I definitely want to do. Now, the weekly show would be the live one, kind of have a general sketch and then let it free flow. So, because it's some more natural, it would frankly be better. And then take clips from those and start to post those through the week.
Exactly. So, and when I say live show, or when I say weekly show, it doesn't have to be live, right? It's going to be whatever's consistent for you guys, right? Like I said, if it's easier for you to just say, hey, I'm going to go out into the community right now within our church, for instance, and I'm just going to offer, weekly or bi-weekly or once a month, whatever you want, right? A session where I come and I do X, Y, and Z for people, right? And I kind of get in this world, whatever, and it doesn't have to just be like, I think if the financial literacy route is the route you want to go, I would keep it around financial literacy, right? But like I said, have them on into your space and record that session. One, just to give them, right? Because they're not going to remember everything or be able to write everything down. But two, with the understanding that, hey, we're going to, obviously moving any sensitive information, like I said, because all you guys really want anyway is to see Tim in his environment and to see his genius, his knowledge, his care, his expertise come out in real time because he's doing it in real time. And then to clip those moments. Like, how it is on social media. These are only going to be like 20, 30-second clips, minute max long clips. Like, how many 30-second gems come out of you just talking to somebody? And like I said, that's more than enough for you guys to post on social media. And so, yeah, like I said, I would just find that cadence, it doesn't have to be live or anything like that. But like I said, it could be, something as simple as that. Like I said, just setting you guys up and putting Tim in his environment, especially knowing that he's like, I don't really care about this social media stuff. I'm old school. I know what I know I want to do. I'm going to hit the pavement, put him in that environment, but let's capture it. And like I said, and that's in addition to the speaking he's already doing. If that's not being captured, say, hey, we need to get this captured, right? Send one of the kids with a camera or something, right? If it's not already being captured, and clipping that up as well. Like I said, because the more people, and it doesn't all have to just be financial literacy. Like you said, there's so many motivational things that's going on. There's spiritual things that he's talking about. Like, all those clips should be shared because one of those clips is going to go viral, right? And as people get more introduced and open into your world, right? The difference between you, and not you guys specifically, but like you and Tony Robbins, is I just know what Tony Robbins thinks about certain things. That's it. Like, if you think about it, like, and I always tell people this. I always like bringing up controversial things. President Trump gave everybody the blueprint. Because we go through this world, right? And we make up these fake rules of, well, you can't do or say. Well, the reality is I can do or say anything. And the other reality that most people didn't think was going to happen, because if everyone remembers when he started running, everyone's like, no. He said what? Because he said some wild stuff, right? I think everybody can agree he said some wild stuff. But the crazy thing about it, which wasn't so crazy, is that people go, oh my goodness, I can't stand him. But he was elected, now wasn't he? So just know people are so you have opinions about things. Go share them. Right? Like, the problem is it's not captured, and I don't know what you think or believe about money, about anything. We don't know. And that's what's keeping most entrepreneurs back, because they're scared of what the backlash or people are going to think. I'm not. Because I know that for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Meaning, half the people are going to hate me for it, or dislike me, or want to cancel me, whatever that means. I love this canceling thing that's going on. Like, how do you cancel a human being? Like, it's an actual human being, right? And the other half is going to be like, there's some truth to that. And we saw that with that election, right? A lot of people was like, oh yeah, I would never. But then they got to the polls and they was like, you know what? now that I'm in the comfort of my own home, and that's what you need, right? And so, like I said, I don't think you have to rev it up. There are people who do that, right, and get on social media and say and do things that they don't even necessarily believe. That's always been a part of media. And I don't think you need to do that. Just go authentically, your authentic beliefs, your feelings about the education system, poverty, wealth, spiritual health, like all those things. Your natural thoughts and beliefs about that are going to make people angry. And it's going to make another group of people be like, about time somebody said it. And that's going to position you as a leader. That's what people don't realize. I think a lot of people get into this, a lot of entrepreneurs get into imposter syndrome. And they think, who am I to be a thought leader, an influencer, an X, Y, and Z? And what people don't realize is just the fact that you captured your thought process, you were able to communicate your thought process, and you shared it publicly is what makes you a leader. Most people don't want to share it publicly. So now you guys have got something where you can capture it. You guys will share it, and then you guys will put it out publicly. That's going to get you guys the following. And that is going to create a following bigger than you guys would ever think. And that will easily monetize because people are going to want to be up under you. The people who align with those beliefs are going to want to be like, okay, cool, how do I step into your world? And we've created something at whatever price point that is in low enough entry for them to step into our world, and then we can monetize on the back end and all these other ways.
So, and with the monthly membership thing, so it would be like the specific thing we're offering them is like, let's say they maybe a one-time one-on-one session, the workshop. I think is an excellent idea once a month. And I'm trying to think of what else to give them that, because like I said, I love your concept of give it all away. Mm-hmm. Offer maybe, everybody gets the free digital download of the book or something like that.
Yeah, I think. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I think less is more, honestly. In my experience over 11 years, less is more. Okay. And I know you guys know this intuitively that we just talked about earlier. Like, you will go one piece of concept that you know and think is so simple. Like, actually, I'll give you an example of when I had my fitness studio, right? Everybody knows you need to eat right, you need to exercise to be healthy.
Yeah.
But where we started seeing the best results is when we moved away from diets or trying to get people to do anything, and we started introducing a concept that I called habit-based nutrition coaching. And so what we did was, they'd come in, and let's say you were on a 12-month training program with us. They say it takes at least 2 weeks to establish a habit, right? If you do something for at least 2 weeks, it starts to become a habit, right? I think it's like 6 weeks to solidify it or something, but at least 2. So what we started doing is I said, hey, these people get better long-term results if we just start piecing out, like I was telling you guys, what do they need to do to become the type of individual who's going to have this result? So the first one was just tracking, I think, like water intake. Did you get X, Y? And that seems like such a simple thing. And we tell them, hey, this is small on purpose. So maybe it was like, I don't remember what it was, get 8 glasses of water in a day. And that was the only thing they had to focus on for 2 weeks. That's so small and minute. But when we started there, people started getting better results. It was so easy. And then the next thing was like, okay, make sure you get 5 fistfuls of protein in, right? Or a fistful of protein, every meal. Okay, cool. That was easy for them to do, right? And that was the second habit. So what we were doing was we were building these habits on top of each other, and they'd get a couple months in, and they're this, those habits that were being established would fast forward them and get them to have better results. So I don't think you guys have to pack it in too much. You can position it as, hey, this is our monthly mentorship where, hey, we're going to show you and talk about the things that wealthy people have been doing for years that is not talked about, because the rules to wealth creation are like Fight Club. And the first rule of Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club. Right. And that's the thing. There's people who are out here and it's just not being talked about and shared amongst everybody. And so that's how I would position it in our show. Hey, you guys want to step into the world. You want to be made aware of what, the talks that are happening behind wealth, how to protect your family, how to send, kids to school for free, how to grow your money interest free, how to do all these things, right? Come join our monthly mentorship, right? Each month, every month, I dive in and I teach one strategy, that the wealthy are using, and I lay it out and I break it down in layman's terms so that you can do it for you and your family as well. and you can do it. Like, that's how I position. That's more than valuable. And then, like I said, you add the community there. I would not add one-on-ones to this. Mainly because it's not, you're going to over leverage yourself. There's not enough hours in the day for how quickly it's going to grow. And it's really not needed right now, right? Because the people who enter this just need to become hip to the financial literacy game in general. They just need to become made aware of the play. And like I said, a lot of the things that you'll talk about here, like I said, I wouldn't try to go really deep in the things that you would go to and help like some, a real client with, like I said, because I'm trying to think about, just like I gave you guys the nutrition example, what do these people need to do in order to become that individual? Like I said, like people ain't even saving money. You know what I'm saying? Like, just like basic stuff, like they're not paying down debt. Like just little stuff like that is going to change and have such a big impact and help turn these people into the type of people who 3, 6, 9, 12 months from now can turn around and be like, Tim, Danielle, I've been rocking in the mentorship, for 12 months, and y'all changed my life. When I came in, my credit score was 580. I had this much debt. Using the X, Y, and Z play, I paid off my debt, boom, 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 and now I'm able to do, right? Like, that's the type of person who's become the type of person who can pay, and that's going to pay off in the long run. And you guys will never run out. The business who creates their own customers will never run out of customers, right? Like I'll never run out of customers because I'm literally taking people who are not able to pay me or take advantage of these services or offers up here, and I'm getting some money now, right? Very little, some money now to educate and help them become that for the larger payoff, right? And the business that does that is always going to be okay.
I'm on page 2 because again, no, I think that was really excellent. And I think that the main thing for us is we really have to just build on getting the clips because right now, especially we're not dealing with necessarily mics and stuff, so the acoustics are bad on the video. So one thing we said we would invest in is like even getting our own microphone.
Yep.
And doing it through, we'll figure out because clearly the methods are out there. We're just going to have to learn.
Yeah. So some things that, just some tech stuff as we, to leave you guys with, right? If you go, I'm sure when you go to speak, there's microphones and stuff there. So that's really just about capturing it in and of itself, right? A camera, and having some type of microphone attachment to it. But if you guys go to do a show, for instance, and you're doing it either in person, but I would probably recommend just doing it over a platform like Zoom, or we use Riverside to record this. Riverside is a podcasting platform. We use the mic I have is nothing too fancy. It's called a Blue microphone. It's one of the better ones, better quality ones, but I think this mic may have only been maybe $149 or something. We don't really have too many issues with our audio quality. I'll tell you guys this though, getting started is better than it being perfect. Y'all don't over leverage yourself. Like we got to get, just start putting it out, right? That's the reality, right? All that production quality will get up, all that, right now it just needs to be out. Software wise, I know that we use, Apple's Final Cut Pro, and, I think the thing that they use to edit reels is maybe a software called CapCut, CapCut. I believe CapCut is free, but CapCut allows them to add the text and I think music behind the clips. So if you guys go on my social media and you see the ones that we paste, I think that's where those come from. But that's it, right? Like I said, I wouldn't go too crazy right now. I would just start capturing that content. And you guys will be good to go, like I said, because you guys don't want to be doing that long-term anyway, right? You want to build some consistency here, get some people in your mentorship, in this mentorship. Like I said, by the way, 10 people at $199 is $2,000 a month. That don't hurt nobody's feelings. You know what I'm saying? That don't hurt nobody's feelings. And like I said, then I would use those profits to turn around and say, hey, we're getting $2,000 a month because we have 10, 15 people in our mentorship. Let's take 1,000 of that and invest it into recording equipment or a better camera. Like, I wouldn't like just start out like, just capture it however. I mean, your phone, just the iPhone itself has a good enough camera to, shoot video and things like that on. So, like I said, I wouldn't crazy over leverage myself there. That's where I'd start. And like I said, you guys start capturing that, putting it out, not with the goal that tomorrow we're going to get 100 people, X, Y, and Z, just being like, hey, I'm doing this already. And the reality is it just needs to be shared. Nobody knows I exist. And when we do know people exist, we don't know what they really believe. And everybody wants to stand behind somebody who believes in something. Right? Because you're the shield for us. It's like, I believe what you believe too, but I'm gonna let you go ahead and take the bullets for it since you out there, since you out there saying it. I believe that too. I'm gonna follow you. I'm gonna get in the community. But you keep, because I could never imagine, right? Most people say I could never imagine. Well, that's not you, right? Tim, you're already a speaker. You're already like putting your thoughts and beliefs. So like, it just needs to be captured and shared now. The world just needs to know. And it's so easy to go viral now, right? With Reels, TikTok, YouTube Shorts. Like, it's so easy to go viral now. Like I said, if you just clip those things up, that motivational thing, that controversial thing that maybe is controversial it's not even controversial. It's just against society, but it's foundationally and core to your beliefs and how you run your household. That thing needs to be, you see what I'm saying? Like, just those things are going to get people to be like, right? And so, like I said, those things do well on social media. So I think you guys will be fine. But that's the plan. That's what I do.
No, that's great. Thank you. I guess my final question to you, because I'm going to go over this recording, go over these notes a couple of times so I can soak it in.
Absolutely.
When you're doing this, so use our personal pages. So my only concern was, I actually built quite a bit of a following on my personal page for a while because I was kind of tend to do devotional type style. Kind of switched it up and stopped. My concern was, I believe, and what I hear you saying is like, don't be neutral, be who you are unapologetically, because there is always an audience for that. My concern, and it could be because I came from corporate America, was there was always had to be a disconnect, which is why I always made on social media, I'm going to say, feel however. And I guess even if it's unmerited, my concern is like, does that pose a conflict? Because I am very clear on where I stand. And I'm unapologetic, especially even in person, but I just didn't want it to be a hindrance to his business because there is a level of boldness to what I say.
No, I think, I honestly, it's a decision for you guys to make. My general opinion is you guys are equally yoked, right? And I know you guys know what that means, right? And so if we're equally yoked, right, like I'll get out and I say things in controversy. I tell me and my wife, right? My wife is the behind the scenes person, right? She's stay at home mom, X, Y, and Z. And somebody interviewed me on a podcast and asked me something, and I said, honestly, I don't really care. The thing that matters to me most are the people who actually know to me. What do they think about me? Right? If I can go home at the end of the day and my wife is like, if my wife didn't say that's over the line, I don't care what you know what I'm saying? Like, as long as like I'm good at home, y'all in trouble. You know what I'm saying? Like because I wouldn't have said it if I don't I believe in God. Like if I think I'm a line there, I'm good. And if my wife didn't say it, y'all in trouble. Because cancel me who? Too bold for who? Like, I don't care what anybody else has to say. The people who I live with who know what I'm doing this for, they're like okay with it. And so no, I don't think there's an issue with it if there's a line. And like I said, I think it's as long as it's things you guys really believe, who cares how strong of a belief it is? Right? So that's a great question though. And I will tell you the way social media works, the bolder the belief and the stronger you deliver that you believe in it, the more it'll go viral. And expect, by the way, this is the other thing I'll just end you with because I always tell my students this. Expect, by the way, the silent, like you're let's say something is bold and controversial because it's just against society. The comments that are going to be on there, majority of the comments are not going to be support. Don't take that as, oh my goodness, we should have done this. Because what's actually going to happen, you're going to see a lot of follows, you're going to get a lot of messages that are people that are like, agree with this too. But nobody wants to, like I said, you are the shield. So like I said, I always see my students, don't focus on the vanity metrics anyway. A vanity metric, for instance, on the social media would be likes and comments. We focus on saves and shares. How many saves and shares did each one get? Which, when you're a business account or a creator account, you can see those, because that's when I know we have good content. Because people gonna like and say whatever, but when people are like, they DM and they're like, hey, right? Like my wife sends me stuff all the time. She's like, oh, you say this or we, but like whatever it is, but she's not reposting or liking or putting it out there. And so, like I said, yeah, y'all will be good. I wouldn't worry about that at all. I don't think it'll hinder anything. At all. Like I said, as long as you guys and your household believes it, let's run.
No, that's actually excellent. Because I would get IMs, because I would tell my friends, I get messages especially from my colleagues who will never like it.
Yep,
because
never.
of what it stands for. You would never know I publicly talk to half the people who message me. So, okay.
Yep, exactly.
That was excellent. Don't focus on the likes. You've given us a lot, so I think that the wholeness, he said it, what I was looking for.
Good.
And then the monthly and just really getting on, the weekly, no, we're going to get on this weekly and focus on being done, not perfect.
Yep. And just set a date. This is your action step, right? You have the steps now. You're going to get the recording. You're going to go through this. The action step is set a date where this is going to start. And just start it. Right? You don't need to be fancy, anything like that. Just start it.
Excuse our invader.
So as far as location, we can where would be started just like in your living room, or you want on a white wall, or?
Yeah, so it depends on what style you want the show to be, right? Like I said, for instance, and like I said, I don't think there's a right or wrong. It's going to be what's more natural for you. If you say, hey, there's some teachers who are like, hey, I'm a whiteboard teacher, meaning if I'm going to interact with an individual like one-on-one, I need a lot of preparation for that. But I can prepare for myself. I know what I know. I can just go whiteboard. Okay, cool. Create a whiteboard show where you just go weekly and you just get a whiteboard and you can film it wherever, right? Like I said, it could be in your house, and just get on a whiteboard and, talk and do what you got to do. Maybe you want to enter into a coaching session. Like I said, I would probably just do that over a platform like Zoom or Riverside. That way you can be at your place and they can be at their place, or you can go wherever, right? You can be on the go. You can go to an office space, or wherever, and they can be where you don't have to necessarily have somebody over, right? Because maybe you put out and say, hey, I want to help talk about financial literacy and help people do X, Y, and Z on social media. And maybe a Facebook friend who's in Seattle is like, oh, I would love to do that with you. What, you go fly to them? Like, no, you don't need to do that right now, right? So I could just be over Zoom. Like I said, it really just depends. I don't think there's a right or wrong to it at all. I think it could be strictly audio if you wanted it to be. I think that would slow down the growth some because you'd miss out on the video clips of it. But like I said, I don't think it need, if you guys look at my clips, all my clips and every event that I do, I do a lot of speaking, and since the pandemic, it's been a lot just for my home office. It's right here behind this whiteboard. I ain't going nowhere. They be asking me, I'm like, can I stay home and do it? Cause this is much easier, right? So like I said, I don't think you have to worry about that. I think as it progresses and blows up, maybe you decide, hey, cool, we're going to get a studio. We're going to have an office. We're going to bring things in. But right now, I would just run and launch it. Like I said, whatever is convenient for you. Like I said, if you want someone to be there and you want it to be a coaching session, great. It's whatever you think is going to naturally pull out that stuff from you. And then, like I said, you just don't hold back during those. If it's a teaching session, do a teaching session.
Okay. I was asking because as a speaker, I'm a stand-up speaker, and I speak. I don't read off of a
I'm the same way.
Speaking, so when things really come out of me is when I'm there walking. I get some of the best things that just comes out right then and there. And so I remember just for content, I just went to a park one day and did an audio recording under a gazebo and speaking the same way. And
perfect.
Only problem was I can't get the audio recording off to except for posted it on Messenger or something. But being in that environment is where it comes out, and that's what I know that I need, and I know where I can shine.
Then the other thing you could even do is, like I said, let's say if you're going to do weekly, you could just hold a weekly live Zoom then, right? where it's free, right? You promote it, people from the community. It is, because to you, like I said, it doesn't matter if there's 5 or 500 people on for that. Like you said, you're just creating the environment, like you said, to pull out the content from you. So like I said, if you wanted it to even be that, where it's like, hey, I don't want it to necessarily be a coaching session. I want it to be like more of a speaking where I'm delivering this specific topic. Cool. Have some people come. Just say, hey, we're doing a live thing on Zoom. It's free. You guys post it all on social media. You tell your church about it, your community, just all of that. Right. Like I said, because I literally don't care, because I'm not doing it for how many people are there. That's going to grow anyway. I'm doing it so that I can put myself in the environment so I can get the content that's going to allow me to go and create the audience and following and impact all these people. So, yeah, like I said, I don't think there's a right or wrong answer at all. Whatever you feel you need to get in that environment is what I would do to create that, to create that for me.
I think that was actually really good. What you just said reminded me, because first I was doing everything through Facebook, but then I didn't know until after I have all this content that I can't get it off of Facebook. It has to stay there. I can't even get it on Instagram. So do the Zoom and so I can record it and send it somewhere else. Okay.
Yep, and then I can export it to whatever platforms I want to.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yep, absolutely.
I guess my last question. Well, I guess we don't really have anything that's right now that needs to be trademarked or copyrighted or anything. But I think we're too early for that. We have like some names that we were told to make sure some of the titles of things that we have in books and products to do that with. But is that something to even think about at this stage?
I mean, if you guys are in a place to, in general, I would tell most people to just start it and run. And do those things. If you're in a place to and hey, this is the name and the stuff that we want to have and we want to protect it now, go ahead. Ultimately, what I love about something like this is, unless I'm trying to create a media company, which maybe that's what you guys are trying to do long term, none of that stuff really matters because people can copy whatever they want anyway. You can't duplicate me.
Yeah.
You can name your show what my show is, have it at the same time, the same da-da-da-da-da-da. And the reality is there's 8 billion people on this planet. And the people who want it from you, and it's not even a competition, you know what I'm saying? Like the people who need to hear it from you are going to hear it from you. And people like me and Tim could get up and do the exact same presentation on the exact same topic. And some people couldn't hear me at all. And they'd be like, Tim's my guy. And then another group of people would be like, man, I don't know what that Tim guy was talking about, but that Elijah guy, and we said the exact same thing. That's what I love about how many people are on this planet, right? And so, like I said, yeah, if you guys are in a place and you want to save and copy some of those names, yes, but I wouldn't let that stop you. I'd go ahead and start that process, but start creating anyway.
Okay, so that is, I think I have everything that I need at this point. And then I guess it's a general question. At what point do we start to look at like when you said scaling up, like if we ever feel a point of stagnancy, okay, like we've had 10 people in this group and it's been like 5 months, when should we start kind of looking into, like, is that something that we should always be setting our goal like every month to get 3 new members or something like that?
I think that's a conversation that later, once you have the cadence down, like I said, for me, and I'm just like how in my head, I would not even I would sit down, I'd pick my start day, and I'd just say, we're going to pump this out for the next 90 days. And 90 days from now, the reality is you could have hundreds of people in. Cool, that's great. You could have 5. But at that point, then I would look at it and I'd say, okay, cool. We've been putting this out. And we know we're going to continue. We're not pushing the reset button. But now we need to look at what's going well and what needs to be improved upon. Right? Because that's just reality. That's just life. Right? Like, I look at it very similar to a marriage. You didn't get married and I'm like, hey, whoa now, hey, we don't do that in our marriage, right? It's life. And so you're like, hey, you get into it's like, hey, look, this is what we need. I love this about you, babe. This is where we're strong, but we also need to improve on this. That's it, right? That's how I look at businesses. And so when that comes up, you guys definitely feel free to reach out to me. And like I said, I'll be able to, have, any feelings and inputs and thoughts on it for sure. And like I said, we can, even have you guys back on, right? Because we're going to be doing some follow-ups on these plans for people on the show and say, hey, cool, right? And maybe that would be, another session of like, okay, hey, This is what's been the good about it. Here's what's been the not so good about it. Let's tackle this. And we'll do that then.
Well, let's set a date for September 2nd, 2023. We'll be back.
Hey, I like that. Hey, if y'all have time for little old me, shoot. Y'all gonna be too busy. Oh, yeah, I know we're supposed to come back, but
No. Hey, and I just want to say, I want to shout out, man, for one of your messages, man. That was really helpful with the kitchen table talk.
Oh, yeah, kitchen table logic.
A lot of people in terms of understanding the kitchen table, dealing with themselves, questioning the product, and questioning yourself, and really understanding how essential trust is in the matters of it all. And so that's something that I've carried and have taken with what I'm doing when I'm talking to people, working with people in the community, is understanding that value of trust is most essential. And so, and following those principles. So,
hey,
shout out to you on that. Thanks.
I appreciate you, man. Man, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I cannot wait to see what y'all do with this. Thank you for being a part of the show. Go and make an impact in the world today.